Now you do these things and you get slapped on the wrist with a massive lawsuit and all sorts of things. All you have to do is Google newscaster, local news, suicide, and you'll see all of the reporters who have honestly killed themselves because this is such a tough industry to be in. And it's one of the most abusive industries that you could particularly be in.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Otherwise, everybody would drive in the cheapest car. Everybody was wearing the cheapest clothes. So only 20% of the people buy the cheapest car. The only 20% that don't care about the car. If you care about your car, then you are in this 80% range. So what happened when you drop the price? You bring two problems to your business. Number one, you start to bring the clients that don't care about your service. Number one, but also they are very little because there is only 20%. So you are neglecting 80% of the market size. Because as I illustrated to you before, only 20% of the people buy some price. So by you getting your price down, you bring in two problems to your business, huge ones. Number one, you bring the clients that don't care about the service, but also these people are in a low proportion compared with, like, for example, you do PR, okay? So who will pay cheap for PR? Someone that don't care, someone that have some marketing budget tiny there, somebody thought that you have to spend, they just don't care. I will find the cheapest person. But if somebody cares about the image, the reputation, the name, like myself, for example, right? I remember when I wrote my first book, I paid $60,000 to a publisher. And when people will say, wow, this is a lot of money to pay for publish a book. And I will say, yes, but you know what happened with that book? It had my name on it. So I had to make sure that who's the best in the world that do this kind of thing, because once this book is out, it's going out with my name on it. And I want, this is not my first language, so I want the most expert person out there. Okay. Now let's talk about the employees. Okay, because in that one we've been there, right? So when we are small and started the business, we don't know what we're doing, right? And we start to bring people. Okay, work for me. I pay you some money. This is friendly and everything. When tell us a story, or tell us when do you have the first setback? Like you've been in business for like 10 years ago, you say. So when was the first time that you have a setback with people? Because it's difficult when with the team, and how you become the challenge.
So can you kind of just like re-walk through that really quickly?
Yeah. What was your biggest challenge recruiting the employees, and how you become that challenge when they were not the right person? We still don't know why. We still don't know why, but this is what happened. And it's even more interesting. I interviewed the Minister of Finance for Zimbabwe quite a while ago, and he told me, Harry, we have a program in Zimbabwe that we lend money to the farmers, and they grow vegetables, and they sell those vegetables, and they pay back the loans. But let me tell you something. We have problem with the men versus the women, because women, most of them are paying back the loans, and then they're asking for more loans, and they keep growing the vegetables, and they are more. However, we have a huge problem with men don't pay back the loan. So he told me, as government, we are very happy to lend to women. We are not happy with the men situation because they're not paying back the loans. That's the Minister of Zimbabwe of Finance told me this personally himself, and also was in the news.
No, I mean, it brings a good point. And also, I have a client, she's a female VC, which is also very rare. And
wow, look at this female VC. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, it's hard. I also work with a client. She is an OMF surgeon. Less than 14% of women are OMF surgeons because you have to go to medical and dental school. So you have to do both. So at that point, you're having children, you're going on and doing other things. So it is very difficult for this percentage for women. But I recently looked up, and I can't remember the if you make the 10-year mark in business, how many people actually make that mark? Because I'm going to make that mark in October of 2026 of this year. And it was a very low percentage. Now, if we dissect that down to female, I'm not sure, but it will also be a very low percentage versus men. So I feel pretty confident in stating that, I just feel like women have a massive disadvantage, and I'm not here to
I
go
agree.
on like, yeah, and I'm not.
Don't worry, we talk about this topic in the podcast a lot because I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of the subject.
yeah,
So we talk a lot about this here.
yeah.
Also, the other thing, so it's difficult to be an entrepreneur. It's very rare to even be 5 years on the business, 10 years. So let me ask you another question. You're very sharp, right? So why 10 years ago you didn't find a job? I'm sure that they will pay you very good money and they will make you very comfortable. You're very employable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why you decide to be an entrepreneur? That somebody
Honestly,
told you that was no good idea, that the success
yeah, of
rate is
course.
really low and you have to work a
Yeah,
lot, that you better
my
find a job.
my father told me that I would probably fail at this, and that 99% of businesses, because I don't know
Well,
where that
well,
came from. Um,
it calls calculated risk.
yeah, so
Is he
pretty
an
much
entrepreneur?
he is an entrepreneur.
There you
Yes,
go. He told you to find a job.
told me to find a job.
That's
So yeah,
funny.
it's funny. So honestly, I fell into running a business. I not set out to be entrepreneur in any regard. So I was a former news reporter and broadcaster and producer in small market television stations. I did everything you're supposed to do in order to work the ranks, get up the ranks in the TV stations. However, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expected different results. So I worked at 4 TV stations. One was more horrible than the next one. And I come to the conclusion that I cannot make money as a news reporter, local
And you
broadcasting.
define horrible? What do you mean horrible? They were paying you little, they were making you work more, they were mean
I
to
always
you. What that means horrible?
I always tell everybody, I start the story with, did you ever have a dream? And everyone goes, yes, yes, of course, of course. And they raise their hand. And I say, okay, have you ever done that dream and it was like a nightmare? And they go, whoa, 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 what do you mean? So I feel like with broadcasting, unfortunately, like local news is dying. That's factual. You can research it. It will state everywhere that local news is just simply actually going to die. So that is why 13 years ago, I make this decision that I'm not going to be in news anymore at this moment in my life because simply I cannot make money. My last TV station, I was doing 2 VOSATs a day, 2 news packages, 2 different news angles, shooting and editing all my own video, driving 5 hours a day, putting on the makeup, trying to go on camera, having several panic attacks throughout the day. Wasn't able to like eat or drink. I would drink my water. That would be about it through the news cruiser. But, wouldn't eat anything because I thought it might slow me down. So it was like a lot of problems. And I felt like this is before the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matters, all the things that are actually probably decent. And it just really came to this point that they do not care if they treat employees horribly. They do not care if they mock an autistic employee, which I seen happen in my first TV station. They simply just don't care. And there were laws in place, but they were so loose. So until that Me Too movement, Black Lives Matters, and all this other things that happened, it was very loose. You could be very mean to your employees. You could be very disruptive. You could harm their mental health, and you will not get in any type of trouble regarding this. Now you do these things and you get slapped on the wrist with a massive lawsuit and all sorts of things. All you have to do is Google newscaster, local news suicide, and you'll see all of the reporters who have honestly killed themselves because this is such a tough industry to be in. And it's one of the most abusive industries that you could particularly be in. And it's still very abusive, but now there's a little bit more
Wow.
parameter. It's a very
Wow.
abusive industry. So I feel like
know
if you want to go be in abusive industry, you need to be in local broadcasting. And that's how I feel. So then I
that
went
one
on.
also. Yeah, go ahead.
So then I went on and I got into public relations. I worked for a great agency and I learned so much from the woman. She was a former broadcaster herself. And then she wanted to go in a different direction and kind of do more music PR versus sports PR. So I felt I need to go in a different direction myself. And I got into tech PR and I love the agency I worked for. It was great. But then 3 months into working there, the gentleman who was running this actually fired everybody on an email. And I was sitting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just fired everybody.
Well, tech PR is very important. Tech PR is very important. We use it a lot with our tech founders.
Yeah.
I take it very seriously.
Anyway, so this guy fired everybody. So then I pretty much took one of the employees who I work with, and then I started my company, Exclusive PR. And then within 6 months of starting it, I failed completely. I lost all my money. I could not pay my staff. I could not do anything. So then I worked for another agency and it was really great, but I couldn't get paid very well there. It was book PR. It was great. Loved the company. They now recently just went under, but really great company. After that, I went back to the tech PR agency when they relaunched and we had another falling out again about 8 months after the fact, but I just had interviewed a web designer there. And when I left the company, I asked the guy, can you build me a website? I'm going to relaunch my company, Exclusive PR. I relaunched the second time. But this time, I do not fail at this. So within that, it will be 10 years, October 2026. On my LinkedIn, it says 12 years, but it was only because there was, I kind of failed, then I kind of got back up, then I kind of kept going. So I realized that the world isn't really set up for people who are creative thinkers, and instead it is very politically challenged. So you have to be the favorite. You have to be this, you have to be that. There's so many rules in this political engagement of corporate America that I was like, I'm not going to keep doing that. So if it goes messy, it's because I messed up. And that's the best part of being an entrepreneur, because it's on you, right? So it's not like so-and-so doesn't like me. Or
you cannot blame anybody.
Yeah, you can blame yourself, but that's it.
Everything, so, you are responsible for everything.
Yeah, and I like that though. I like that. I like that so much, because if it goes south, it's on you. It's not on your boss. It's not. You can't blame anybody. So you have to have full accountability.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.